Hello, I am Chris Williams, and I'm back with another review. This time we're reviewing Major X Issue 2. Here we can see the cover done by Rob Liefeld. I really think it's Rob Liefeld's art, so I know he didn't do the interior art, but this cover by him is really good. But let's see. It shows, it's maybe a bit boring. It just shows the characters just standing around. Cable in the background with Wolverine up front with Major X just under the logo, pointing his guns up. But at least it's drawn well, at least in Rob Liefeld's style. So I am enjoying it. Though it looks more dynamic. Maybe it's just because it's drawn in Rob Liefeld's style, because the cover of Prisoner X issue 3 with Beast on the ground growling looks like he's more of an action shot, but this still looks better than that cover. And we start off with the first page of the actual comic book with art by Brent Peebles. We see the Accentual and Major X as they talk about the paradise that their world has become and the existence. The Accentual is reminiscent about how all the struggles they have gone through that had led them to this point has given them a world of peace. And he looks out over the existence through all the different tribes of mutants and how hard they worked to get here. We can see the land is lush and with rocky terrain and two suns in the sky. So I have a question. Is the Accentual actually create this whole world, this whole universe? Or they just shoved them into a different world, and when he disappeared himself, this world was coming apart because they didn't belong in that world, so this world was rejecting them. So I'm going to say they actually created an entire world. He's thinking back about all the mutants that they were able to save and bring to the existence, how close they came to being killed from sentinels fighting each other, apparently, or at least one sentinel appears to be fighting other sentinels, a blue one, while the Catalyst, the guy in the sky, had driven the mutants nearly to extinction, and he tells the Accentual that he will find them and finally kill all of them. I gotta say, this guy is rather a bland costume, but because it's done in a rather 90s style, it looks a bit better. I mean, he looks like a classic villain, but that's the thing. There's nothing really distinguishing him with the high green collar on his cape to the metal helmet to just the purple one piece. Here we can see the mutants finally arriving in the existence. We see a green-skinned girl with pierced ears and a couple of guys behind her and maybe a kid. They all come in multicolors that are not normal for humans, greens and reds and yellows. As they walk out through the portal and they see their new world, they wonder what they should do next. They end up spending many months building a new home for themselves. And who else came along with the mutants but some of the last survivors of Atlantis. Here we see the two children, or possible children, of Namor, Nomor and Laura. They have come to the existence from New Atlantis to negotiate with the mutants for more resources and better living conditions for their people. They say that New Atlantis doesn't have that much in the way of resources, and their people could soon end up dying because of it. So they come here to negotiate with the existence and his people. Here they are trying to get them to say yes to sending more resources down to Atlantis, and the existence says they are pretty much spread thin. And Nomor causes some trouble by smashing his hand into the table, saying, "And then what? We are to vanish alongside you? What of this place? This existence?" Apparently, because the Existence says that because their resources are so few, they themselves could end up dying. And as he said, No More refuses to let the Atlanteans die out. Major X raises his gun, saying that No More is out of line, and that if he doesn't quiet down, he will make him. While the Existence puts up both of his arms, separating the two men, saying that there is no need for violence. There is an alternative path. My work will continue in the form of another. Saying that he has a plan to deal with the scarce resources and that he will soon solve it. This is what Major X explains to his father, Cable. After listening to Major X's story, Cable decides to take Major X and McCoy off to Grey Mulkin using his time slide. Now, as far as I understand, the original Grey Mulkin, Cable's base back when he traveled back in time, was a space station. It was destroyed by X-Force and S.H.I.E.L.D. fighting over it. Apparently, he has made another base for himself using his teleportation technology that he also calls Grey Mulkin. And he takes them both to his own personal armory, and he gives them weapons. Wolverine, meanwhile, is unsure that Cable should be trusting this guy who calls himself Cable's son. And he asks Cable what he will do if he doesn't come back from this mission. Cable responds with, "My X-Force is in good hands. In case I don't make it back, you're a natural, Logan." And Cable and Major X teleport off to get a couple of time slide devices that would help Major X. They are in his old base, the original Grey Mulkin, the one that X-Force and S.H.I.E.L.D. destroyed back when Cable had disappeared after the Executioner's song. Here we can see Major X and Cable treading water because the parts of Grey Mulkin that hadn't burned up in the atmosphere or been taken by Magneto to make Avalon had fallen into the ocean, particularly the time travel core, where Cable keeps some of it, where most likely Cable has a couple of time travel devices still stashed there. So they're walking through the remnants of Grey Mulkin's base when suddenly they are attacked by a super strong Atlantean, or what they call Major X calls an Atlantean giant. And the Atlantean says, "Surf's up! You're too late, traveler. Time to die!" And he attacks both Major X and Cable. They respond by shooting him, but the giant Atlantean is somewhat invulnerable. But they do manage enough damage to him to bring him down to the ground. And the Cable commences to try and question him. And the guy responds with saying, "You're on my turf, landlord. I know my way around these waters. This place is set to blow. The Existence is finished. You've lost." Apparently they learned that the Atlanteans betrayed the mutants and the Existence because the mutants weren't doing enough for the Atlanteans. So they decided to go over to the Catalyst and make a deal with him. Then Major X and Cable are attacked by another superpowered Atlantean, this one calling himself Undertow. Undertow is an Atlantean who also has the power to control water, of all things. And he's the brother of another Atlantean who looks more like a regular human, except he has elastic powers like Mr. Fantastic. And what happens next is that all three brothers escape, leaving Cable and Major X to die in the explosion that they had set in the remnants of Grey Mulkin. And the last thing we see is a great explosion, and we wonder if Major X and Cable have escaped, while the three Atlantean brothers laugh hysterically as they themselves make their exit. This comic was good. It ends with a big kaboom, literally. This has been a very good story. It might not have that much depth to it, but it is entertaining. far more entertaining than some of the other books I've read lately. A few last words on this book. Rob Liefeld has given us a really good series here, and that I'm really glad that he's back to doing what he does best, doing his own art style. He's not trying to copy other people, but he is making great strides by giving us very entertaining artwork, or at least getting other guys who also love doing comics, who are helping them on this series, also giving us an entertaining series. So I have to say this. Good job, Rob. If you like this review, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that bell and leave a like. And leave some comments down below. And remember, keep checking in for future reviews to hear more and more news on my own upcoming independent comic book, Scumdogs. Well, that'll be all for now. I'll see you all again soon.